Once SRC makes a pronouncement on the matter, county governments will go ahead, together with national government, will go ahead and sign a CBA with the Nurses Union.
The Council of Governors throwing the Salaries and Remuneration Commission under the bus over the nationwide nurses strike, blaming SRC for failing to okay the draft CBA that would have stopped the strike. But the SRC says the ball is in the governor's court.
We have given our advice. We have never failed to give that advice. And on the basis of that advice, they were meant to engage, they were meant to reach an agreement and enter into the collective bargaining agreement, sign the collective agreement. We give the consent under no objection as agreement and register the same. So these other games that we are seeing truly is something that SRC does not understand, and we do not want to identify with it.
According to the SRC, the COG was advised on the parameters, especially financially, of engaging with the nurses, with special emphasis on the availability of funds and sustainability of meeting the obligations as contained in any CBA that will eventually be registered.
What came to us was totally different from what we had agreed. Further to that, it was not only different, but it had a financial implication, with absolutely no support in where this funding, the 40 billion, whatever the amounts, is coming from.
However, the Council of Governors, through the Joint Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, seems to have ignored the advice, resulting in the CBA that the SRC says is only as good as the paper it is written on.
Whatever we have undertaken as SRC, we will ensure there is funding to that effect. Anything else outside the projected funding truly is illegitimate for us as far as our interpretation on sustainability is concerned.
The SRC aren't the only ones faulting the Council of Governors. The Nurses Union says it had all but agreed on the CBA, only to be confounded by what appears to be less than honest dealings with the Council of Governors.
This idea of telling us SRC had not agreed is just a sign of not having goodwill, a sign of blackmailing the nurses.
Just like it happened in the doctors' strike case, the government is once again facing accusations of unfair play and lack of good faith in the negotiations that led to a CBA whose implementation figures the Nurses Union is now disputing. The nurses maintain that the CBA they agreed on was meant to have cost the taxpayer 7 billion shillings yearly and not the 40 billion shillings as presented by the COG to the SRC for approval. The COG has now escalated the issue further by declaring a trade dispute between itself and the Nurses Union. The COG has already registered that dispute to the Ministry of Labour, which is now calling for a reconciliation meeting to be held Wednesday to try and find an amicable solution to the crisis that is already hurting thousands of Kenyans. Brenda Wanga, NTV.